Dan, I have to say the reporting from the team on this is absolutely phenomenal, even if it is heartbreaking. I just can't get my head around the idea of 42 million tonnes of rubble. Talk to us about the scale of the destruction in Gaza.
Well, to give a sense of scale, the Bloomberg story cites UN figures finding that the amount of rubble in Gaza from this war is roughly 2.5 times that created in Ukraine by the 2-year war with Russia. This war in Gaza has lasted so far around 10.5 months. Now, obviously, there are many reasons for this. The congestion there before the war, the construction, the fact that Hamas has created tunnel networks underneath many of these buildings. That's why Israel says the destruction was caused above. It has gone after the tunnels, sometimes bombed them from above, and the result can be seen plainly to the eye. Now, obviously, any long-term arrangement, any long-term post-war arrangement of Gaza would require this be addressed. People need places to live. There are ecological problems posed by them. There are health problems, public health problems posed by these mountains of rubble. But given the fact that there is no clarity yet, even over the question of who will rule post-war Gaza, it seems very early to be talking about post-war rehabilitation of Gaza.
And of course, Gaza's no stranger to conflict. So given all of these many challenges, what do we know about how they're thinking the reconstruction is going to need to be organised?
Well, there's already been planning notes issued by the Palestinian Authority. This is an interim government that exercises limited governance in the West Bank being one of the territories Palestinians want for a future state. There is some talk of an international consortium, money from the West, from the United States, from Arab powers that are inclined to help out, perhaps from next door Egypt. But again, I'm not sure anyone is lining up right now to shoulder what would be an enormous burden, certainly in the absence of clarity, bureaucratic clarity, governance clarity, simply into the question of who will be in charge in post-war Gaza. And it's worth remembering that Israel currently controls all access points to the Gaza Strip. It still considers Gaza an active threat to its national security. So as long as that's the case, the Israelis presumably will not be rising to the challenge of admitting equipment and material needed for reconstruction. That will be a long way off.
I mean, as you say, no one wants to foot the bill, but that is the big question. Who is likely to foot the bill?
It's an excellent question, and it's a hefty bill, and we've seen wars in Gaza. This is actually the 5th war since Hamas took charge of that territory, and in past there have been drives to muster donations. Those donations have not always been delivered upon. Qatar, significantly in recent years, has funneled lots of money, hundreds of millions of dollars, into Israeli-approved construction projects in the Gaza Strip. Potentially it would be a candidate this time around. But relations between Qatar and Israel this time around may be strained, given what Israel has at times described as a Qatar relationship with Hamas that Israel deems to be too snug, too close, and of course with Iran. Then again, Qatar is now hosting ceasefire talks between Israel and Hamas, another round of them. So Qatar remains very, very important, and presumably if it comes up and offers to pay checks that clear for the reconstruction of Gaza, I'm not sure anyone's going to be tearing up those checks.